Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Let me make sure my mic is in the right place. I'm so glad you're all here doing a last minute live because I was filming what I was making and I thought, you know what, this would be better live. So I have some things ready and done and we're gonna see what we can come up with today. So I decided to do this live instead. So first up, if you just got here, I would refresh the page because I added in the description everything I'm using, so it'll be easy for you to find. Or I put pinned in the chat a link to my visual supply list page where it has information on free shipping code and the supplies I use. So let me show you what I'm using today, and I'll tell you also about what I'm going to show. I'm going to show some time-saving hacks. So this is the newest collab from Simon Says STAMPtember, and it's one of my favorites. It's Concord and 9th. So there are different options on what's available. There is a 6x8 stamp set. There are 2 coordinating die sets. One cuts out the images and then the friend and hello banner, or just the word hello and the word friend. Then the other die set cuts out all of the sentiments. So you can either get the stamp by itself, the stamp in this die set, the stamp in this die set, or the whole kit and caboodle. Completely up to you. So this is what I'm using today. And these are gonna sell fast and they'll sell out. And once these sell out, that's it. They don't come back. Now, the techniques I'm showing today, you could use with other products. So I hope you'll stick around and watch. I am using these to make a note card set today, or at least part of the process. So that's why I needed to do some tricks for saving some time. And so I thought I'd just share them with you today. Let me just show you this stamp set. So the stamp set it's hard to see, but there are 2 large images that when you stamp them on top of each other, you get this floral oval, which is perfect to put a little sentiment in the center, and it fills a card nicely, which you'll see. But the set also has individual leaves and flowers that you can add anywhere or do by themselves. So I'm a big fan of Concord and 9th images. Now, what struck me when I got this are the sentiments. I love the design of these sentiments, and that pretty much any occasion is covered here. So you could do, oh, happy day, for birthday, thinking of you, for sympathy, or general, lots of different occasions here. And I love having the dies to cut them out. So I'm going to be making a set of note cards. They're going to be like a rainbow set of monochromatic note cards. And what I'll do is make it so that when I give it to the recipient as a set of cards, it'll be in a bag, the sentiments will not be on the cards. Instead, I'll put a little X in the center of the card to tell them where to put the sentiment that they need. So I have lots of sentiments included in the gift bag or in the set of note cards, and then they can choose. So say they want to give a pink, oh, happy day card to somebody for a baby. They can just take the pink card and glue on the oh, happy baby sentiment. So lots of monochromatic, time-saving tips, and gift card ideas. This is actually, I think I'm making 2 sets. I'm gonna make 2 sets. I think one's gonna go to Lila's dance coach and the other is going to go to her principal. All right, so I am gonna get started with this, but again, if you're interested in this, this is something that's gonna sell it fast, and there's a link in my YouTube description, and there is information for free shipping over at Simon Says Stamp. I do love these fonts in this set too. I agree. All right, Kathy, thank you for being here. I know it's a work day, right? It's a work day. Okay, so I do want to show that these are sticking to here because they got tape on them. I did want to show you that in this die set here, there's a banner and the letters for hello and friend. So you can use the hello and friend on their own, or cut them from the center of the banner, or just use the banner itself. So do know that this coordinating set cuts out the big oval, individual flowers, and then the banner. And I'm hoping I have time to show you cutting out individual flowers and more. I do have a Pilates lesson at 2, and for my mental health, I need to go. So I will be wrapping up so I can get to Pilates at 2. This girl needs to go. This girl needs to go. Okay, so I'll be using this. I thought I would start out with a time-saving hack to do the sentiments first. Normally I wouldn't do this first, but I think it's worth sharing, so I wanted to start with it. I hope that's okay. Kathy is here. I know, I said hi to Kathy. Kathy's my girl.
These products are going fast.
Yeah,
the full set is going very fast.
Mike said that these products are going fast. The full set is going very fast. I knew it would. I knew it would. When I get the box of all the collab stuff, this was one that stood out to me. There were 4 or 5 that I just knew I had to use. Okay, so yeah, I like the leaves too, and you can use them all separate. Let's start with the sentiments. I have them all out here. Let me show you a little trick that I did. I want to do a bunch of sentiments, all white heat embossed in different colors. And I need to die cut them all out. And I wanted to save time doing that. Now these dies are from Simon Says Stamp. When Simon Says Stamp has their dies, they're connected. And I know some people don't like connected dies, but in this case, it's helpful they're connected. So this is a trick you can do with sentiment, dies that cut out sentiments like this. If yours aren't connected, stay tuned because a little bit later I'll show you how you can do this trick if they are not connected. But I'm going to leave them connected here. And I'll talk about if yours aren't connected, what you need to change up as we go. Okay, so I have a piece of white cardstock here. And I am going to, you know what? Actually, I'm going to take it and run this through my die cut machine. So I have the negatives. No. I'm going to tape this onto here. All right. Yes, this hack saved me a lot of time when I was doing these. I was making these note cards yesterday for fun, thinking I was going to record it and share it. And then when I was doing it, I thought, you know what? I need to go ahead and share it in action. So what I'm going to do here, and my head's going to get in the camera, and I apologize for that. I'm going to try not to do it much, but I'm putting one stamp at a time inside of the die opening. It's really easy to look through and line them up. I may not do the best at centering them here because normally I would get my head right over it, but you don't need to look at my gray hair today. Hello. All right. So let me put this in here. I'm going to do each one. I'm just doing one at a time. And so I will be able to stamp all of these at once and then die cut them all at once instead of doing the individual. Now, while I do this, pretend your dies were all cut apart or they came cut apart or whatever. All you would have to do is tape them together. And I will show a trick to make it easier so you don't have to deal with the tackiness of the tape. I'll do that later, but you could just tape your different dies together and do this trick. Now, I'm making a note card set where I mentioned that I'm going to include all of these sentiments in each of the colors so that they have lots of options to choose from and it'll match their card. But this is something you could just do with, like, say, black ink, and then you can have these ready to go, or silver embossing or black embossing. Now I'm going to stamp this. This doesn't matter what it looks like. I'm just doing kind of a test. Let's see. All right, so now I have that there. I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. I apologize because there's a lot of die cutting today, so you're going to hear my die cut machine a lot, but it'll be worth it. All right. So I'm going to run that through. Now I also have, let me make sure these are the right pieces before I do them. I also have some cardstock cut. Now, I did a bunch of this, as I mentioned, over the weekend, and I have some ready, and I just added some more colors now. So see how that cut those all out nicely? And I'm happy with the placement of those. So I'm going to leave this as is, okay? So there we have our sentiments. See how nice those fit? Will you add double stick tape to the, yes, Sue, yes. When I put, let me show you. So here are some that I'm started to put together. So I put a double stick tape on the back of it. I layered this up, and so that all they have to do is peel it off and then stick it on the card wherever they want. So yep, I will be showing that too. So I got started on all these this weekend. So you can see all those sentiments. See how they're all, look at that rainbow order. Okay, but I'm going to show you what I did here.
Yeah, she does a lot.
I do this a lot. So now we're good. Let me see. I got to find a cloth to wipe off my ink here. Ooh. Okay. So does that make sense what I just did? I'm hoping that makes sense. All right. Now I want to do a bunch of these. I can take this off here, by the way. I want to do a bunch of these, and I want to use white heat embossing on all of them so that this will end up with a monochromatic card. If you wanted to save time with this note card set, you definitely could instead just stamp these in black. Just stamp them in black, and that's on white cardstock, and it will look lovely in there. Because after all, like, let me show you here. I mean, it's not the right color, but you could see how a white sentiment in the center would be nice because there'll be a white trim around the card anyways. But I love the look of heat embossing, and honestly, although I have to do a bunch of pieces, it doesn't take that long, and I'll show you. Yes, I have been busy. That, you know, when my anxiety's high, I get crafty and go overboard. You usually can find out how my anxiety is by when I do a video where there's a lot of die cutting or I go over the top. I don't know why. It's just what I do. So I stamped one and put the embossing powder on. Now I'll go to the next one. Use my anti-static powder tool. Now I used, to make these cards, each card would end up being almost one sheet of cardstock because I'm going to do 2 cards in each color. So you need 2 card panels for that. One piece of the cardstock needs to be for the sentiments, and then you'll have 1 piece of cardstock left over if you cut it all up into 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch pieces. And I just used whatever colors of cardstock I found in my craft room that I thought looked pretty. I do think for the monochromatic look that we're doing here today, that it's best to do like a medium shades of cardstock instead of super light, because we are going to use white ink. And if you have a light cardstock, white ink doesn't show up very well. And I wouldn't go too dark, because if you use dark color cardstock, it's hard to do a tone on tone stamping with a darker color of ink. So you'll notice that all my shades of cardstock are kind of a middle ground. All right, so the nice thing about embossing ink, I'm using Versamark ink here, is it stays wet long enough that you don't have to heat set as you go. One thing you could do what I'm doing, where I stamp it, then add the white embossing powder, and then go to the next one, stamp it, add the white embossing powder. Another thing you could do is just do all of your stamping in Versamark and move kind of quickly, and then add all the powder at once, and then heat set all at once. Is Simon here? Hello, Simon. I love the card you shared on Instagram yesterday, Simon. Oop, on Instagram, Simon. And I just got done organizing my Simon Hurley inks yesterday, or last week. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay. So now I have 4 panels here. Very quickly heat embossed. I didn't do the best here because I want to get this done before I go get tortured at Pilates. Okay, so now I have to heat set this. So I am going to heat up my heat gun first. And then the advantage of this is of heat setting all these at the same time is my heat gun's going to be hot, so it'll quickly heat up all of these. So while this warms up, I'm going to put it under my table so you don't hear it as much. Mike, are there any questions while I get these heat embossed? So I'm just letting it warm up off screen. Sue asked, I asked, and so Sue also asked, can you put the link to those storage bins you are using for your cards? Yep. Yeah. The bins that I'm using here are from Spellbinders. They're called Craft Stacks. I will have Mike add it to the supply list. They come in medium and large, and then a pack that has both medium and large. The ones you just saw stacked up were the medium, and the large is twice that size. And I use them every time I make a card now. The nice thing about them is they stack well, and they have lids, and they stack with or without the lids. So what you just saw there was without the lids, and they stacked well without them, but they also stack well with the lids. I just didn't feel the need for the lids here, so I went without. All right, Mike Cohn's texting me. Can you see what it is? It's on my computer. My son is texting me from college, and I always want to reply, so Mike's going to check out what he needed. Okay. Can you put the link to those? Oh, yeah. And then the stamp, is the stamp for A2 card, or can it be bigger? You'll see how it fits nicely in the center of an A2 card, but it absolutely could be on a bigger card. You could do like a, you could do that in a 5x7 or like an A6 because it's so big. I will show you it here in a moment when we get to stamping that. Almost done with heating these up. What are the magnetic sheets? The magnetic sheets that I showed there, I'll grab them here in a second. These are really thick. These are from Lawn Fawn. They're super thick. And I don't store my dies on those because they're so thick. I have these out, and when I'm creating, like when I'm working on a project, I'll put them on these because they're really strong. I think I linked in my crafty gift guide list from last year a thinner but strong magnet that's good for storing your dies on. I don't want to store them on these because they're so thick that it will take up too much room in my storage, and these are a little bit more expensive. So, okay. Sorry for all that heat setting. What? Why don't you just tell them I'm live? Okay. All right. All right. So now I have all those heat embossed on all of these, and I can go through. Did you see it? Yeah. Okay. I can go through and line up this and run it through. So mine were still connected, which makes it very, very handy, right? I tend to leave, if I get a sentiment set especially, I tend to leave them connected until I need to take them apart so I can do a trick like this. I actually like the connecting, but some companies come with theirs cut up. So if you have sentiments that come apart, or you maybe are mixing up different, just tape your dies together on the outside edge and do the trick I just showed you, where you can line up the stamp with the opening and then die stamp them and then die cut them all. Okay, somebody asked about my my Mama Elephant video. I had some trouble with it, and that was part of my anxiety over the weekend. I couldn't get it together. So I'm hoping it'll go up tonight. It's filmed, it's edited, hoping it goes up tonight. I apologize for that. But it will, I'll put the post up with the video like I normally do. I had to put it up without the video because I told Mama Elephant I would participate in their hop. So that's why I did that. Okay, so you can see how I've got all of these cut pretty quickly. I would have saved a significant amount of time if I would have just stamped these in black or done like tone on tone, but I really like the idea of that bright white on the particular card that we're doing today. So I'm just gonna, I think, you know what, I'm done with these. So I'm gonna take these out because we're gonna have to do some other things. But let me show you how I'll finish off these sentiments. Oof. Okay, next up. So now I have them all cut here. I don't have a bunch of bins sitting next to me, but I can do this. I can kind of create some piles here in a bin. These are the craft stacks. Did you add that, Mike? Mike added it to the description. They are fantastic. They sell out a lot too, but they always come back in stock. This stamp set and dies that I'm using today will not come back in stock. Concord and 9th has a lot of other sets, like, you know, that have that kind of feel, but not like this oval frame. I just think it's great. Okay. Yay. So now I have my sentiments done. Now, Sue had asked how, if I'm giving the recipient the option of what sentiment to put in the center of the card, what glue will I provide? Well, the trick that I am doing is I am using, I can get it. I am using, is he okay? Okay. It's almost sold out, folks. Yay. Did Colin say he's okay?
He didn't say.
Great. Oh. Yeah. I wonder how that came up. Okay. Sorry. So I have Altenew, can you scroll it? Altenew double-sided adhesive sheet. Now this is a great product because it die cuts very well, and it basically turns your die cuts into stickers. So I'm going to put this, didn't exactly land perfectly in place, so I'll just cut off the excess. So this is going to turn this white cardstock basically into a big sticker. By the way, these Spellbinders scissors, you've heard me talk about them. I'm still in love with them. These are my Tim Holtz scissors. Okay. All right. So now I have a big piece of white cardstock that has the adhesive on it. I'm just going to cut this into fours. Halfway in one direction, halfway in the other. Now, I will take this, it flipped. Take this and run it through. Now, my plate here, I don't know if I have my magnetic plate. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to. Just a second. I gotta find, I don't see my magnetic plate. It ran away. Well, we're gonna have to try it. I normally, because it's cutting through such a heavy layer, I would normally put my magnetic shim under here, but I can't find it, so we're gonna do without. So I'll run this through. All right. Okay. So now, yeah, this is gonna, I needed my magnetic shim. I don't use not magnetic shim, metal shim. Sorry. I don't use the metal shim with my Empress very much unless it's thick like this or unless this magnetic shim is getting worn out. Yeah, it looks like I need my shim. Oh, it's working. There we go. So now yeah, it worked. I just ran it through once upside down and that helped. Okay, so now I have these that I can glue on the back of the ones we heat embossed. So now this is a sticker that they can add at the center of their card. So, oh good, I'm glad the die cut machine is quiet. Is the heat gun really loud? I'm so sorry for that. I don't think I have any. Does it get filtered out? I don't think I use the heat gun anymore today, so that's good. So now all of these sentiments I would include in a little bag in the gift set for the person who I'm giving the set to choose whatever sentiment they want for the cards they're giving out. And these all have the adhesive on the back. So I'm going to make a card, just a separate card. It'll be a rainbow one that kind of goes with all the cards inside. I am going to make a card where I write a message for the recipient and I say in there, hey, all you need to do is choose a sentiment you want, peel the backing off of it, and stick it on the X at the center of the card. So I would draw just a little pencil X at the center of the card where I would recommend they put the sentiment. So now I have all of these done. So I can continue with my other 4 pieces of white cardstock. I can continue to cut more of these, okay? Now I'm not gonna do that right now because I wanna save some time in the video because I have other things I want to show you. I can come back possibly if I have time to do the rest. But all I would do is put that on the back of the others. So this is also something, if you like to prep ahead of time, when you're not feeling creative, do this. Do this. You probably want to do it on white cardstock so it works with everything, or maybe black cardstock with white heat embossing. But have a bunch out that are a bunch ready to go, and you can even put the adhesive on the back so they're ready to go. But the reason I'm doing it today is because the recipient gets to choose which one. The white cardstock I'm using today is Neenah Classic Crust Solar White in the 110 pound. It is what I use for 90% of my white cardstock. I just love it. It's heavyweight, no questions asked. I know it will always work well for me. Yeah, it is a must. I agree. Okay, so that is one hack for making a bunch of sentiments. And I will show you a way if your dies are cut apart so that you can do a bunch of them. And it's something that you can do with non-sentiments too. Say you get like a cute, I used a Mama Elephant set in a video. You'll see it's coming out probably tonight. But it has lots of cute images, right? What you could do is the same thing. Keep all the dies that come connected together and line up the images like I did with the sentiments inside of the die, then stamp them, and then you can just die cut all the pieces at once. And if your dies come cut apart, you just tape them back together. Yes, you could. Another thing Mary Kay said, if you don't have double-sided adhesive sheet, you could also just put a foam square or a few foam squares on the back of it, and then the recipient can just peel that off and stick it wherever they want. I mean, the people I plan to give this to are not crafters, so having the adhesive ready, I think is helpful. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. Now let's do the stamping on the background, if I can find everything. Everything moves, right? All right. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, thank you. It was a last minute thing. Decided last night, but hey. Okay, so I have here the same colors of cardstock that I did before. And these I've cut down to be a little bit smaller than 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. The reason I cut them a little bit smaller is because I will want to put them on a white note card and have the trimmer on the edge, but you could skip that if you want to. Somebody asked before, could you use these images on a 5x7 card? Absolutely. Let me just, I don't think I have a 5x7 card base around here. I used it all up yesterday with the other day with my Mama Elephant. But see how big this will be? That will, it fills up a 4 1/4 by 5.5, so you definitely could use it on a bigger, right? Okay, so I'm gonna start with a piece of white cardstock. Let me trim it down, just kind of as my little road map. I think it's always good to have a little bit of a road map. I think I cut that too small. No, I didn't. Okay. Here we go. All right. So this is just a piece of white cardstock that's a little bit smaller than 4 1/4 by 5.5, just like my colored ones. This is just going to be my mock-up. Now I want to see how to center this on here, but it's kind of hard to center it because it's 2 layers that fit together. So what I'm going to do is actually take the second stamp. This is the one with the leaves, and lay it onto the floral one. So this is the floral, this is the leaves. I have the back of the stamp facing up on both of them, and I'm just going to line it up here. So you'll have to apologize because my head will probably get in the way. Just a minute. Don't count my grays, because more and more have hatched since my son left for college. It's a bummer. Okay. There we go. So now that they're on top of each other, I can kind of see what the overall oval will be. So I'm just going to try to center that the best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right. So those are 2 stacked together. The top stamp is the leaf image. So what I'll do here is I'll close my MISTI, and this will pick those up, and I'm going to take off the floral one so that the leaf one is right where I want it to be. And I'll do the leaves first. Now, on this white one, it's just kind of my little mock-up. I'm just going to stamp real quick with some blue ink. This isn't going to be great. It's just a little mock-up, just so I have that position down in case I want to use it for something. I'm not real sure what I'm going to do yet, but all right. Wipe that blue ink off. By the way, these are the black cleaning cloths from Simon Says Stamp. They're microfiber. I like these and the other soft cloths that I use in videos because a lot of people ask about this. I like both of these a lot. The nice thing about the black is it doesn't show all the ink. This one is a newer one, I think, because it doesn't have a whole lot of ink on it. But I like both of these. I usually try to avoid microfiber cloths, but these were really fantastic, and it's a nice size. It's not huge. And I also like these. So you'll see me using both in videos. Are the word dies sold out already? Okay, so this is the leaf image, and I wanted to do monochromatic cards. Now this stamp set would be fantastic for a lot of fun techniques where you like do different things in different colors. I know that Kathy Zilski did a card. She sent me a picture of it over the weekend, and she did different colors, like in different areas, and it would be great for that. However, I'm just doing monochromatic because I think it looks cool for set of note cards, and it also saves time. Oops. So there, I stamped this with white pigment ink. the white pigment ink that I'm using is from Hero Arts. It is the Unicorn White Pigment Ink. I have used this ink for many years, and you just get it re-inked. Hi, Joe. Or get a re-inker. But do know there are a lot of great white pigment inks out there. A lot of companies have them. So use whatever white pigment ink you have. Now I'm going to go through and stamp this. Now mine needs re-inking, so I'm double stamping, but to be honest with you, I probably double stamp anyways because I'm a double stamper. I don't know. I figure if one stamp's good, two stamps are better. It's a habit. I guess it's so easy with the MISTI that I might as well just go ahead and double stamp. All right, so I'm stamping this in white. Other things you could do is once you're done stamping with the white, if you want shimmer, you could go add Perfect Pearl to this. Perfect Pearl is a pigment powder that I've used billions of times in videos, many times over the many years. And it would just give this white ink a shimmery shine. And I considered doing that, but again, I'm making so many that was one step I decided to not do. You will see that I do add into this card design some steps that do take time, but they could definitely be skipped. I just like to have some of those things added in, but this time I did a little picking and choosing, and I decided to skip the pigment powder and instead do some layers later on. All right. So you can see how fast I was able to stamp all these, and I love the look of the white. Now be careful because white pigment ink it's a pigment ink, which means that it's like the ink kind of sits on top of the cardstock, whereas a dye ink kind of absorbs in, it kind of dyes the paper. The pigment ink is like pigment that sits on top of the paper. So it will take time for it to dry. You can heat set it so it's ready to go, but I don't want to do that today. So I'm just going to try not to touch it too much. Does that white ink dry quicker than others? No, none of the white pigment inks will dry very quickly. You just need to heat set it or give it time to dry. Another option you could use for the step I just did is like a metallic ink. Yeah, you could use interference inks. These would be beautiful, MISTI. You're right. Those Lisa Horton interference inks that I've used many times in lives, this would be beautiful for that. All right. So now, let's see here. I'm going to take the floral image and line it up with my guide here. This was like the first one I did, just to kind of have a guide or a template. Whoop, that was smooth. So I'll line it up. And this is one of those, you're not layering it, you're building the images in between each other. So it's pretty forgiving. I did not close that well. It's a Monday. All right. I hope Colin's okay. All right, there we go. All right. If only they weren't out of stock everywhere. What's out of stock? Oh, the Lisa Horton inks. Yeah, they're pretty popular inks. But I do know Simon Says Stamp has them coming back. They have them on order. So if you hit notify me, it'll show up. Okay, so there we go. Ignore my colors and my poor stamping. I just wanted to test it out. So now I know I'm happy with that. And this time, on each of them, I will stamp with a slightly darker color. Let me make sure. Yep, it's going to be good. With a slightly darker color than the paper. I don't think I'm going to use this mauve. Now, as far as the ink here, you could use whatever kind of inks you want. I'm choosing to use dye inks, and I'm using Altenew Fresh Dye Ink because actually, this time I'm not. On most of them, I used Altenew Fresh Dye Ink, but I think for this one, let me just test this. I think for this one, I want to use, yeah, this is going to be pretty vibrant, but I'll do it anyways. I'm using Gina K, ooh, I made a mess there, Gina K Medium Orchid Ink. On most of these cards, I use Fresh Dye Ink simply because I have more colors in those, and I just picked whatever color was closest. So I'm going to ink this up, stamp it on here, and then I'll repeat that. This one needs re-inking too. yeah, I think stores are also, like retail stores, like small stamp stores and stuff, will probably start getting, more of them will start getting the Lisa Horton inks because they've been really popular. So check with your local shops if you are lucky enough to have one. Okay, so there we do the pink. Let me do the other pink. And each time I'm just gonna do a little, gosh, I'm a messy mess today. Do a little test, make sure it's all okay. And then I will ink it up and stamp again. I don't see that you're using the magnet. Okay, so inside of my MISTI here, I have my Waffle Flower grip mat. There are a few different ones available. They're all great. But this is the version 2 Waffle Flower grip mat that seems to be a little extra stickier. However, also, even if you have the version 1, it seems like the longer you have it, the better it holds. It's holding fine for me. You could still use a magnet here if you prefer. Totally up to you. So there we go on the pink. Now I can clean this up. So yeah, I really like having this in here all the time. I will say that I have another one where this is easier to take out so that when I have a cling stamp, I can easily get to that. I hoard MISTIs. It's a problem. That's okay. All right, next up, let's do the blue. Yes, Kay said the Waffle Flower grip mat in the MISTI is a game changer. Yeah, she says she doesn't use magnets anymore. I will use a magnet sometimes. You can. I don't know where mine is. You definitely can, even with this sticky mat, but I don't, in most cases, I don't need it. A lot of times I do if I'm just really afraid I might mess something up. You know, sometimes, I don't know about you all, you have to tell me. Sometimes I have days where I feel like I'm crafting like a hot mess, like where I seem to be dropping everything, or my dies move when I run them through the die cut machine, or I get a fingerprint here or there. On those days, I use the magnet still. But you know what, this today kind of feels that way. I should probably use it. But now I'm doing double stamping. If you have a stamp that is nice and juicy, a stamp pad or an ink pad that's nice and juicy, you definitely do not need to double stamp. It's just a habit that I've gotten myself into to stamp twice. All right, for this one I'm using just green. That last color was turquoise. So in this can be really dark. Probably a little too dark. We're gonna do it anyways. Now, one thing also very important to note is that dye inks do soften after you stamp them. So this looks very dark right now. It'll soften, especially your good quality inks, you know, from our good stamp companies. They have, you know, they're all designed formulated a little different, but they all have a good quality ink formulation will just kind of absorb into the paper and smooth out. All right, last but not least, I have some orange here. So this is something I would cut all my cardstock for these panels, and then I would take my MISTI and my white ink pad, and I do all the white. And you could go do that upstairs in front of the TV. You could, you know, put on a movie, whatever you want. Can you scroll so I can see what Shari said? My friend Shari's here. Oh, there we go. She says she has days like that too, where she feels like she's dropping all the things and make a big mess everywhere. It happens to all of us. I do believe it. And if it doesn't happen to you, you are a lucky cat. Okay. Now, this is orange cardstock. I didn't write down what all the colors of cardstock I used are. I've been trying to do that lately or mention in my videos, but I didn't today. I will say I know that blue is, Simon Says Stamp Lake, which is just a beautiful color. All right, so this is, oh, look at that. Even, I think monochromatic cards, even when they're in colors that you normally don't love, it looks really cool. When you put the white with it, I don't know. Now, there is a way that you could step this up, and it's actually what I originally thought I would do. I thought I would go back with, I'm not doing it now. because I got lazy. But I thought I would go back with these like individual little images like this little flower here, line it up with the flower because it's the same image in the background, and then stamp on top of it with a darker orange. So you would have 2 shades of orange, and just do that with like a few of the stamps here and there. Another thing you could do is, where is it? This little image right here. This lines up with the center of these large flowers. So you could go stamp right in the center with maybe a gold ink or a silver ink. So there are many ways you could step this up. You'll see I do other things to step it up later that you might not do, but these are other options if you want to. But by all means, you don't need to, these don't need all of that. Okay. Are there any other questions, Mike? I'm not sure Mike's awake this morning. Are you awake, Mike? Somewhat? Yeah, Jennifer's Nutcracker video will be coming out hopefully tonight. I had a little issue with the YouTubing of it or getting it compressed. It's a long story. But anyway, my son stopped by yesterday and played cards with my daughter and I. And I went to a parade Lila was in with my husband. And I didn't get to troubleshoot. I have to have a life. That's what Mike keeps telling me. So it will be coming. I'm hoping tonight. Somebody asked how I clean. Who asked? I always say somebody, but oh my, there's not many left.
That's the full set.
If you want the full set, go now because it's going to sell out. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So, a few people asked questions. How do you get ink off the grip mat? What I do is I use Hero Arts Ultra Clean. Doesn't have a lid on it, and I tried to get it off. And the scrubber, this is soft. It's called scrubber, but it's soft, okay? And I just do a little spritz, and then I work that around, and you can see it took off that stamping there. Here's some stamping down here. I'll do a spritz, work that around. You could clean the whole thing that way. Now, keep in mind, some inks will stain, like some reds and some purples will stain the mat, but it'll work just fine. It doesn't matter. Will you be doing any of your boxed out? Darla, boxed out. Doing any of your boxed out? I don't, boxed out? Let me know what you meant. I'm slow. I don't know. Joe asks, how many hours do you work in a day? I don't know. Every day is different. I do like work out and do some health stuff every day, so that takes up time. My daughter gets home from school at like 3:15, so I just do what I can. But I do work a lot. I will say I work a lot, but something that my oldest daughter helped me to realize is that what I do for my job is also my passion. So whereas like on a Saturday afternoon, somebody might go do gardening or whatever, I do this, like all of you. Does that make sense? Because I really like what I do. So I do work a lot. Boxed auctions. Darla, yes. In fact, I am in the middle of redoing my craft room and I'm purging a ton of stuff. I mean, this is like a big redo that Mike is helping me with. So we have boxes and boxes and boxes of product that we need to put together for sale. And by sale, I mean you pay a certain amount of money. I think it's $100 to charity. You give the money directly to charity, and then I send you the box. I have a post. It's gone.
Well, that's the full set.
The full set's gone. I have a blog post from Thanksgiving where you can go leave a comment. And on that, every time I have boxes ready to send out, to give to people for a donation, I go to the comments on that every year and I pick people all year round. So the best thing you can do is to go to my post on Thanksgiving Day from 2023, put your name in a comment, and hopefully I'll choose you. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But we have a lot more coming. And I know a lot of the folks here have received some of those boxes in the past, so hopefully you know that we stuffed them full. I also put a card in all of them too. All right, now, so let me show you where kind of we are. I'm not going to complete them all here because, you know, I'm not going to have that much time. But so far, this is what we've got. Okay, you know what? I like this, big thinking of you. And I did side folding cards, so the recipient can choose if they put like a thinking of you sideways like that, or if they do like the happy day, oh happy day, standing up. So the card can be oriented either way. So that's why I chose to do the side folding. Thought that would be good. So you could glue all of these panels onto a white note card and then put these and your sentiments, all of the different sentiments with the sticky on back, into a bag and give that as a gift or a box. What I plan to do is, I thought I had somewhere, I have like a canvas zipper pouch that I got years ago. I bought a bunch of them and I put the cards, the envelopes, Mike found it, and there's a sheet of stamps. Can you hand me that too? I'm just going to show you this and then I'll show you the other things I did to this. So I would glue the front panel onto all the card bases and I would put them stacked on one side of the zipper pouch. Mike, can you see, Google or look in my order history on Amazon for canvas pouch and see if you can find these. It was a long time ago. So I'd put my note cards over here. I'd put my stack of envelopes over on this side. I would take a sheet of postage stamps and fold them in half and tuck them in too. And then I would probably put I have little glassine envelopes or little baggies that I would put all the blue sentiments together and all the pink, and I would put them all in there. Then I would have my note card that explains it and also has the message for the recipient. So that's kind of how I would pull it all together. So you could stop at this point and have a very simple, simple design, but I tend to do more. Why do we women feel like we have to explain we work enough? We need to be okay with human. Yeah, I get it. But I work too much sometimes. But you know, I like what I do. I like what I do. There we go. They could also put, oh, that would be good too. You could put the sentiment down there on all of them. That's another option. Put your little X right there so the recipient knows where to put it. Or you can just not put an X and tell the recipient to put this in the center and they can choose where they put it. Okay, so that is the start of that. Now let me show you how I stepped this up. And there are lots of bags and boxes and things that you could use. You could even use a gift bag and just wrap everything in tissue paper. It's really up to you. Now, in this die set, let me think if there was anything else I wanted to show. Okay, in this die set, there are these individual flowers and leaves. So the things that you can do with that is there are these individual stamps, right? These happen to be the same size as what's on the big frame. And this will cut out either these individual ones or it'll cut out what's on your background if you line it up right. There we go. So these will all cut out the individual or from here. And I thought it would be fun to die cut from this panel the 3 flowers in the 3 sizes and pop those up. Now, I don't know, this is going to take time. This is the option where you could skip if you want to save time. But I tend to do those things that take time a lot. It's the way it goes. Is it sold out? Oh, what a bummer. Bummer, bummer. The white ink. You could heat set it. I just didn't want to take the time on the live and the noise. But it will dry on its own if you just give it enough time. So it's getting really dry. But I did all of these this weekend, and I didn't heat set them. I just let them dry on their own. All right. For the sentiments, do you die cut them twice to make sure they're sturdier? Well, here we have, remember I did the blue with the white heat embossing, that's one layer. Then on the back of it, I glued a die cut that I made it from white cardstock with adhesive on the back. So now this is a sticker, so it is thicker. So it is thicker because it's the blue, the white, and the adhesive. All right, hi Brianne. My link ninja's here. Okay, let me show you how I could save time cutting out the 3 flowers from all of these panels because I did a bunch of these. Remember, each of these have 2 backgrounds. I did all these this weekend and I used this trick and it worked really well. So I'm just doing the 3 flowers. I could pop up some leaves, but here's the thing. Even I know when to stop sometimes. Not often. Okay, so let me show you the trick that I did. This is a variation of the trick that I showed you earlier. So earlier I had the sentiment dies that came connected, right? And I left them connected. Now, what I'm about to show you is a variation of the technique that you could do if your dies aren't connected, all right? It's using a piece of scrap paper. So this is, let's see, let me think about this. Hang on, did I clean up that already? Let me see, hang on. I did, shoot. I didn't mean to clean up. This is scrap paper. This is actually graph paper. I keep graph paper in my craft room because I like having the lines on it, but the key here is that it needs to be super thin. Printer paper is great here. Scrap, anything thin would be good for this. Now what I'm gonna do here, I shouldn't have taken out my stamp, but I did. So I'm going back to this guide. Remember I made this guide? Good thing I did. And I'm gonna line the flower back up. So pretend this flower was still in my MISTI in the same position. There we go, now it is. I have a piece of graph paper, or thin paper. See how thin it is? You can see through it. I'm gonna put that in the corner, and I'll stamp on that, just so I can see where my flowers are positioned. Question, how often do you need to put your name in the box? Penny, hi Penny. If you want to be eligible for my, my boxes that go for sale for donation, you just need to leave 1 comment on that post. And what happens is whenever we have some ready, we go and randomly pick somebody from all those comments. Sometimes we pick the same person twice, but we keep track, and so that we want somebody else to get it. So if you have your name in there, you're fine. And every Thanksgiving, I'll restart that. Okay, so I have this. So the flowers on here are stamped in the same place in the flowers of all of my backgrounds. Okay. Now I'm going to take these dies and line them up. I can look through and line it up. So what's sold out, Mike?
The full bundle and the bundle with the round.
Okay, so the bundle with the sentiments.
The bundle with the sentiment dies.
And the stamps is still available? That's what you need. That's what you need. Yeah. That's what you wouldn't be able to do the step I'm doing now, but you would be able to do everything up till now. Does that make sense? That sentiment set is perfect to mass produce sentiments. And if you didn't catch the beginning of the live, yeah, this set. If you didn't catch the beginning of the live, I encourage you to go back and watch it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is this is a piece of thin scrap paper, and I stamped the flowers in the same position I did on all my colors of cardstock. And it's thin so that I can easily die cut through multiple layers with it. So I am taping these dies in place onto this thin piece of scrap cardstock. Now, before, this is a pause, it's not for what I'm doing now, but before, say you had a bunch of sentiment dies that were all cut apart, connect them together on a piece of thin paper, and you can do the same technique, okay? But now I want to just cut out 3 of the flowers from each background. And by doing this little hack here, it'll save me time from having to line them up each time. So I line them up on this thin piece of scrap paper. Where did it's right here. All right. Has anybody in the comments ever gotten one of my boxes? I'm hoping. Because we try to put a lot into it. And I feel better selling them for donation because then it helps me to purge. It helps you because you get new stuff, and then it helps an organization. And I'm flexible on what organization we donate to. Okay, look at, so now those are all cut out. So I know that these are positioned to cut out just right. Now I can take this background and line this up, and I can see through, and look at that. Because this scrap paper, this thin paper, connected those dies together, so I will be able to cut them all out at once. Now, I didn't really line up these two that great, but I'm going with it. See, I didn't line this one up great. So I could redo it. I think it's good enough. This one's cut. See, I lined that one up great. I'm just going to go with it. Okay. Whoop. Yeah, I didn't line it up well. Okay. Now I can run this through and it'll cut these flowers out in this spot. So anytime you want to cut a bunch of things at once, this is much faster than, like, say I want to go to this next one. Here, I'll show you. Look at this. This one I didn't line up well, but it'll be fine. See how those all cut out? So instead of now moving on to this one and taping down this flower die, taping down this flower die, and taping down this flower die, I just take this and I move from background to background. All right, and I can run that through. And I'll keep these with this. So I know that these go together. Does that make sense? Let me know if this makes sense. I'm hoping it makes sense. So this is a fun way to kind of pop up a few of the images, and I just think it adds some interest to the cards that we made. You see those? So I can go through now with this and cut out all of these. Okay, so all of these, it'll line up with all of them because we use the MISTI. The flowers are stamped in the same on each. So I could go through and do that to all of these. I'm not going to do it right now because I want to save the time. But pretend I did. Where did those, did I put them? Okay, I put them in here. So let me show you. That's where I kind of got up to yesterday. And so I'm going to jump to that. So that's what I have here. I have two panels. I did different colors. And I have the centers cut out. And I have my sentiments. I haven't put the adhesive on the back of all of them yet. These I have. See how these have on the back. So I have all these different colors. Now this is different. So I've got this like rainbow. And now we have more to add, the ones I'm doing today. All right. Could I rotate? I don't know if yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. Yeah, if you wanted to cut out more than 3, so like, let's take this one. See how I cut out 3? If you wanted to cut out the other 3, you can actually rotate this because of the way the stamp is designed, and you can cut out the other 3 flowers too. And then you would have 6 cut out. So you could do more. I just did 3. I was running out of steam. So let me show you what else I did. So dooby-doo. I showed you before how I did the sentiments, right? And put the adhesive on the back. So now it's just a little sticker that you can add onto a card. So it just peels right off. You could also do a foam square if you wanted to. Shari, thank you. Yeah, Shari said she just got these trays too and loves them. Absolutely. I agree. Now let's go to this one because this is where I was next. So here I have my backgrounds that I trimmed and put onto note cards. Same like these we've done already. And you can see this is the one I just made. Looks just like this, right? And let me show you how I put the flowers back in. So it looks like this. You can see there's some dimension to it. Now this is where Jennifer goes, you know, goes a little over the top. This is where Jennifer goes over the top. Jennifer has these. I'm going to take these off for now because I can always put them back. Jennifer likes dimension on her cards. So I want to stack some floral die cuts behind these flowers so they pop up a bit, see, and have that little white highlight showing around the edges. If you want to save time, don't do this step. Another thing you could do to save time is just put a foam square on the back of these flowers and put them in the place. But I want to pop them up with die cuts. So what I like to do is die cut a bunch of flowers. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to die cut some layers of sentiments that I can use later to add more dimension. So I might as well run in through at the same time. I can then even add more dimension to my, let's turn this around, to my sentiments also. Could you use one thin plastic see-through paper to do your trick? Yes, you can, Maria. You can also use vellum. So instead of thin paper, you could use vellum. Yep. Or acetate. I don't know. I just use the scrap paper. Okay, so I just put on here the sentiment dies and then the flower dies. If I'm running them through, I might as well do more than just the flowers. Pam, this purple cardstock here is one of my favorites. It's like a bluish purple. It is it is Rainbow Splash Heather cardstock, which is available from Simon Says Stamp. Rainbow Splash is only available at Simon Says Stamp. So you can see I've done a bunch of these. You can see I've got some of them with adhesive on the back already. And now I have these all ready if I want to stack up my sentiments even more. Because you saw earlier, the sentiments I made, I didn't stack up much, but I like stacked up. I like them stacked up, but you don't have to. So I would do that a bunch of times with white cardstock. But to save time now, I'm just going to use the ones I've got. Another thing that I do to save time, I'll show this in a moment, is if you have the Empress machine, which is the machine that I use, sorry, that's loud. They do have these giant plates available. So this is the really big plates. These are the plates that come with the machine, and this is twice this. So what you can do is put multiple things on here. And, oops, I have too many cutting plates. Multiple things on here, run them through at once. So, like I could on this panel, I could put the flower dies. And then over here, I can put my sentiments and the, where are my sentiments? Oh, here they are. I could run my sentiments through over here. So I can do multiple things at once. And that is one thing that really, really, really helps me save time when I'm doing a bunch of die cutting, really. So these big plates, they're fantastic, and they work just like the smaller ones. Mike, can you scroll it for me? Yeah, I'm sorry that you missed that, folks. I tried to warn you. Well, if you weren't here at the beginning, you wouldn't have gotten the warning. But yeah, I knew this one would sell out quickly. In fact, I think it might be the fastest. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, back to this. Let me show you. I popped out these flowers. So I already did a couple, but I'll do another. I put 2 white die cuts on the back of the purple, like I just created, and then I pop it back into its position on the card. Why am I having trouble here? There we go. Pop it right into the hole like a puzzle piece. Because I put that added dimension behind it, you get that little shadow behind it. So here, let's do this one. Are there any questions, Mike? Mike's gonna hit me up with some questions.
Which white cardstock do you like better for better press?
For better press?
Ink blending and heat embossing. Neenah or hammer mill.
Okay, I use Neenah for everything, but my favorite for foiling would be hammer mill, but I use Neenah all the time. Ink blending, I've recently off screen been playing a lot with the Simon Hurley cardstock. I don't know what he calls it, but it's white and it blends beautifully. Gina K has a beautiful smooth white cardstock. The key is smooth. Hammer mill is great for blending. The smoother, the better. So I use Neenah for blending, but a lot of people prefer something smoother. So in that case, I would do the Simon Hurley smooth white cardstock. I'm not sure what it's called. I just bought a ton of it. The Gina K, she's got one that's real smooth, or the hammer mill. For better press, I use whatever I have, but the thicker cardstock is, the better impression you'll get with the better press. In fact, like the thick cotton paper they sell, if I want like the letterpress to stand out more, I'll use that, because the thicker softer papers work better with the better press. So there we've got those popped in. And that just adds, I don't know, just adds some interest. So I would do that on all of them. That does involve cutting more of these white flowers. I don't mind doing a lot of die cutting, and I can run other things through with it at the same time. But if you want to skip that, you could either do a foam square under each of those or just leave it solid like this. I think this is beautiful. Okay. All right, next, let me show you these are, again, optional things that you could add to this.
Let me find it.
There are two things that I was thinking about adding. Doobie-doo. Hang on. Oh, and remind me to show you how I cut my white, or my card bases, and how I save time doing that too. What cardstock do you prefer for a white card base? Hands down, Neenah Classic Crust and Solar White. It's strong, you will not get floppy. If you open up your card and it flops over like that, it's too thin. I use Neenah 110 pound, which is heaviest 110 pound I can find. However, there is also Brutus Monroe Not Your Mama's cardstock, which is even thicker. Simon Says Stamp has 130 pound. That's great. I don't like to chintz on the card base because this is how it's gonna stand up, you know. So I don't like. Mike, can you find a link for the Hammermill cardstock I use? It's a particular Hammermill cardstock. They have a ton. They even have thin copy paper, so you want to make sure you get the right one. Mike will find it and add it to the chat. Okay, there are a few things you could do to these, and I thought I would show you them. On this one, if you can tell, there's a subtle difference between these two, and this one pops more. I used a white pen on this one. There are white gel pens and all that, but there are two that I've been using a lot lately. Let me show you both of them. I had to buy a new set of these acrylic markers from Altenew. You'll have to add these to the list, Mike.
The premium color copy cover.
It's the one that I buy a lot of.
Hammermill?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me check, make sure Mike's getting the right link. It's that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike's getting the right link. And can you add these to the link list? So you could use a white gel pen, but yeah, I agree, Susie. Nothing worse than a floppy card. Totally. Okay. Or was I the one that said that and you were just laughing? I don't know. Anyway, you could use a white gel pen, but as you know, white gel pens are moodier than a toddler who's tired. So there are two options that I like. These are the Altenew acrylic markers. I did a whole video on these. I had to buy another set of them because my husband stole my set and took it over to where he builds guitars. And he uses them to like sign on the inside of the guitar. So anyway, these are excellent for adding like little white dots. So you could use either. So let me just show you. You can see how bright white that is. And there are lots of great colors in here. I did a whole video on these and they're fantastic. And it's a great way to do color on top of colored cardstock or dark cardstock. So I'm just going to show these briefly. You can add, so you could go through, look how bright that is on the orange. Isn't that cool? So you could go through and maybe like use the purple pen to add darker purple on this, or you could use the white in here. But I recently got this set, so that's one option. And here's another option. These are the Sharpie acrylic markers, I think they're called. I have them in my link list below. So there's all these colors and it has this nice tip and you can do white. It's a similar idea. So both work well. I just thought I would share both. Did you add the acrylic markers? Okay. But this is already on there. So what I find these faster to use than a white gel pen, which is moodier than a toddler who's tired. Or me when I'm hungry. So there we go. So see how quickly you can go through and add that. And then I would probably go through and make some of these little berry doohingies. Make some of those stand out too, just to make things pop. And I feel like that makes a big difference and that didn't take long. So you could go with the white, or this Sharpie pack also has silver. So you could go, it's a nice silver. So you could go add those dots with silver. I don't see a gold in there, but so that's another option. And remember, the set also had this little flower you could have done at the center. So those are some things you can do to kind of oomph it up that don't take much effort. So you could put, I mean, look at all the different ways they could add their sentiment. All right. Another thing you could do, and I think I'm just going to go with the white pen. So I don't want to glue them on this, but I'll do it on this one. Another thing you can do is add some shimmer, some bling. Now, I don't want to put too much bulk on here that it requires extra postage or trouble for the recipient to send out. So just these cardstock pieces, that's not too thick to go through the mail. If I put pearls or gems on here, it might be too thick. So I don't want to add bulk that way and have them have to figure that out. I want to keep this to regular postage. So one thing you can use, these are actually the same. I was running out in one, so I'm going to fill with the other. These are Trinity Stamp Shimmer and Shine. They're different circles that are flat, and look at all that shine. And the nice thing about these, you know what, I can just lay them on here. I won't glue them on. The nice thing about these is you can add these to your card and it'll pick up whatever color is around it. So it's going to work on all of the cards in the set. So you can kind of scatter a few of these around, just put a little drop of liquid adhesive and scatter them around, and that will add that glistening shine, but it won't add bulk. So that is something else you could do. And I don't know, I might do that. I might do both because that's what I do. I mean, if you were over the top, you could take these little guys and make them all the berries on these little berry sprigs. So there's a lot of things you could do. So that's another thing you could add. Another thing that you could add to this is you could cut out the flowers like I did, and instead of popping the ones that we cut out, make new ones in a darker purple. So these three flowers would be darker. So those are lots of ideas for you. So I have all of these that I need to finish up. I don't know when. Hey, all of these I need to finish up. I've started putting my sentiments together, and then I'm going to go through and pop in everything. And I have all these different colors. And I love that they're monochromatic. This is Concord and 9th Watermelon, gorgeous. This is Altenew Parrot, love it. And then I did more today. So in fact, there are so many here. I'll have so many because I did 2 of each color. And that's, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11. I would probably make 2 sets of cards out of this. Just do 1 of each color in each. Oh, it's 1:15. Mike's reminding me I have to go to Pilates. But I have 15 more minutes. So, I need to check something, yes. So, that's kind of how I would create a note card set. Now, I also, and I'll finish these eventually and post photos of them. I mean, even the green, look at this. I think that looks cool when you pop those flowers back in. I love it. Paige asked, do you stamp or sign the back of every card you make? I forget a lot. I should get in the habit of when I make the card and I finish it, stamp on the back. Bossy Jossie has a bunch of great handmade stamps, and you can personalize them. And that's where I've gotten most of mine. So in theory, I like to. I haven't done it in a while. But you know, it's up to you. All right. So I also wanted to show you the card that I'm going to put with this set of note cards. So all of those color monochromatic cards will be the gift with all the different sentiments that they can choose from. So they're gonna have a load of sentiments so they can choose what they want. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna keep all 22 cards in a set and give them, Mike's laughing at me, give them to the principal. And that way she has, you know, multiple sentiments, but she will have 2 sentiments of what she wants that she could use with that color. I don't know. Or you can break them up. Up to you. Isn't it a fun gift? This is great. Hey, listen, we spend a lot of money on our supplies, right? And with the holidays coming up, use these supplies to make gifts for people. I've given guy teachers, I've given them sets of note cards. I just make them something that I think they would like to give. And it's always very popular because teachers always need notes. I don't know. So it doesn't have to be teachers. It could be a friend. When my mother-in-law was alive, every year for Christmas, for a very long time, I would give her a set of cards. And it gives you your time, which is great. Okay. All right. So let me show you. This is the card where I will have a message for them. And in the inside, I'll say, hey, here's a nice set of note cards. There's lots of sentiments. Just peel the back of the sentiment off and put it on the card, and it's ready to go. So that's what I'm making here. So what I did off screen here is I stamped the 2 images like we did before, but I stamped the leaves in Altenew Parrot ink, and then I did the flowers in Altenew Warm Sunshine, and I'm nuts because I can remember that. So I could leave this as is. I could have done some creative masking with Post-it notes to stamp each of them different colors, but instead what I'll do, and I'm not going to have time to finish it, but what I'll do is pop these on. Oh, I got ink on this one. Pop these in place. Whoop. There we go. You got to look for that deep cut and it makes it easier. So that I can have different colors in different areas. And I stamped some leaves in darker. This leaf was stamped in Altenew Let Us Celebrate green, which is a great green. And I am having trouble here. And then this is Altenew Coralberry. And so I can pop these leaves on so I can have different color leaves too. All right. And then I did a bunch here so I can do kind of a mix. So one flower will be blue, one will be pink, and then you'll have this beautiful, colorful arrangement. And the thing I did was the colors of inks I used on this card are the same colors that I used for the stamping on these. So they coordinate together really nicely. It kind of finishes it off. Now on this one, I can have fun, right? This is can be in a gift. So I can put little gems, and I'll probably put little silver gems on all of these little berries, just tiny little silver gems. All right, so this will be the card to go with it. And I will finish that off too, and I will share that in a blog post. But sadly, is everything sold out now?
No, the others probably shouldn't be.
Let me show you real quick, because I can't finish this off. Let me show you a little thing that I do. So these I need to cut apart. What I like to do is I cut them close using, these are the Hero Arts die cutters. I love these. They're my favorite because you can get into these little tight spaces. Then when is it sold out?
No.
Oh, no, it's not sold out. So see these little guys, those little sharp spots? Instead of cutting them off right here, they'll go flying and you'll step on it later for sure. What I do is I just hold it. I'm just clamping it. I'm not pressing down much. And I hold it over a baby wipe and I just go like this. I kind of take this back and forth until it breaks it. And that way it doesn't shoot across the room. You could do this over a trash can, but instead of just squeezing here and cutting it, I just clamp it and then bend back and forth until it breaks off. And then I don't have to worry about them shooting around. Here, let's cut these off. So now that one's cut out. And here, I'll just kind of do a little wiggle. This is the best way to cut these. And then you won't hurt yourself. And then I wipe off the blade of this and wrap this up and throw this away. Because if you've ever gotten poked by one of those, you know it's off. Nubbins, I like it. All right, so you could see how
The Trinity gems again.
the Trinity confetti are called Shimmer and Shine. So here, I think I'll probably do a white banner popped up with black hello letters. And that will be my card. You could do friend. I could also just do a thank you sentiment. I think I'll do hello. And we'll put all these little flowers will get popped up. So this will be the main card where I write my personal sentiment and explain what the gift is. And I'll have that tucked in the front of everything. Then we'll have all of our cards and all of our little sentiments and little baggies. And then we have a gift card set. And I apologize that I don't have that all done today. But this was a case of I knew this was going to sell out quickly, and I knew a lot of people always ask if I'm going to be using certain companies' collabs, and I wanted to make sure to share it. And I just really liked this idea of going through in stages and making monochromatic cards to give as a gift. So be sure to watch the beginning if you're just coming in, because I shared how to keep your dies connected and stamp and die cut a bunch of sentiments at once. I mean, that was a huge time saver. And now we have, look at all these little stickers we have ready to go. All right. So I think that's what I've got so far. Let me put out, where did my purple cards go? Did I put them back in? Here we go. I'll just set these out because they'll all end up kind of looking like this. I might put those little confettis on. Those are my most used confettis, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Here we go. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of what we were doing. Isn't that fun? So a lot of the tricks I showed today can be used with other products you have. Really, the key is to kind of go in steps. Get a plan of what you want to create and go in steps, and it doesn't have to take long to assemble a bunch of cards. Especially if you get really creative about cutting back the amount of time you die cut. Because cutting out each of these sentiments for all of these cards would have taken a long time. So it's handy to have them connected and do them all at once. And you could save money by not putting a sheet of stamps in there, but I always do. So it's up to you. That's totally optional too. I have in the past, I've shared different note card set ideas. I have in the past also printed return address labels if I have the recipient's address. So those are even in there. So it'll have like my mother-in-law's return address, and then all she has to do is fill out the card and pop it in the mail. All right. Okay. I wanted to show a real quick, I have just a few minutes. I'm going to show you the way that I make note cards, because I've shown this in videos many times, but I still get questions. So I will show how to make both types of note cards, side facing or side opening and top opening. Where do I get my Classic Crest Solar White? I get it on Amazon. I don't know. Simon Says Stamp, here's the thing. Simon Says Stamp has a smaller pack of the Neenah Classic Crest. I think it's 25 sheets, I think. And that is a great way to try it. And if you try it and you feel it, you'll feel the difference from a lot of like other white cardstocks that say they're 110 pound that you get at an office supply store. You're going to feel that difference. Then I like to buy it in bulk, like in a ream on Amazon. I think Simon Says Stamp used to sell the reams. I don't know if they still do, because I usually would get it there. That'd be a better source, but I don't know if they do. Okay, let me show you real quick how I make note cards. This I find to be another big time saver. If you don't do this, please try it. A lot of times what people do when they want to make a note card is they start by cutting their cardstock in half. Don't start there. Instead, let's make top folding first. Score first. The clippers, the die clippers are from Hero Arts. Mike can add them to the supply list too. Okay, so 8.5 by 11. I'm going to score right down the center at 5.5 inches. So I've scored there. I usually do 2 because it's like stamping. If 1 time is good, 2 times is better. So 5.5. So I just scored it here. I take it and I fold it back on itself. That's how you're supposed to do score lines. Sorry. Then I take my bone folder and I just run it across the side. So now I have a big piece of folded cardstock. Now I'll take my trimmer. You can see that it's folded cardstock. Take it to 4.25 inches and cut in half. Now I have 2 folded note cards. This is much faster than cutting and then scoring 2 pieces and folding 2 pieces. So what I do is I'll grab them. I do this in bulk. I'll make a bunch of them at once. And I have them on hand, so I don't need to do this every time I make a card. People always ask what to do when you're not feeling creative. Do that so that you're prepped when you are feeling creative. Now, if you want, what's up, Mike?
No.
Were you gonna ask? Okay. Now, if you want cards that fold the other way, you take 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and you're gonna score down the center at 4 1/4. So we're gonna make a hot dog fold here. So at 4 1/4. Now notice that my scoreboard isn't long enough. That's okay. There are bigger scoreboards. My bigger scoreboard's upstairs, so I'm not gonna go get it. Score at 4.5 or 4 1/4 as far as I can. Okay. Then rotate it and score at 4 1/4 again. If you have a bigger, I can't do it that angle. If you have a bigger scoreboard, you only have to do one pass. Colin is here? No, he's not. Is Colin really here?
No,
Colin?
it is.
Dang it, Colin. Okay. Hi, Colin. Okay. Sorry. So I folded that in half, and then I used my bone folder. Hi, Colin. You texted me before, but I'm here, so I could. Okay. I'm going to text you in a minute, though. So now it's folded like a hot dog. Then we're going to cut it in half at 5.5 inches. All right. So cut it at 5.5, and now we have 2 side folding cards. All right. So that is so much faster than cutting the cardstock first, scoring each of the pieces, and folding in half. I know it seems simple, but it is a big game changer. This bone folder is from Your Paper Insider. They gave it to me as a gift, but really there's a lot of good ones. This one is from Studio Katia. I don't know that they're in business anymore. I've got some around here from Honeybee, from Altenew. There's a lot of great ones, but I do think a bone folder is not a place to try to save money. You want a good quality. Colin, he's here. Did he just stop by for a minute? Oh my gosh. Sorry, folks. He is loving college. He is. He's got a great community of good kids, but I miss him.
Says, now everybody's crying.
Now everybody's crying. Sorry, Brian. Okay. All right.
You do.
Yes, you might not go to Pilates time with. No, I'll go to Pilates, but I can call Colin before I go. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, Colin, if you're watching, I love you, and I have a present for you, so I might drive it down tonight. Okay, so that's it. That's what I have for you today. I wanted to share those time-saving hacks as I was doing them yesterday. I will finish these cards. It might not be till later in the week. Oh my goodness. But I will share them so you can see what they look like completed. And you know, I think a lot of these, these bundles sold out today. So what I'll do is I'll go through my products and find others that would work in a similar way so that you can maybe find something else in your stash that would work, and you could do these techniques. Yeah, my boy is not far away, but I don't know. There's something about a boy. There's something about a boy, and anybody who is a boy gets that. Anyway, okay, so there we go. Everything that I used today is in my description below. And always I didn't mention this today, but at the top of my description, I always have a link to a page. The link says live, and it has my visual supply list, and it has any kind of sales or shipping codes or discount codes that apply to what I'm using, because I know we all appreciate a chance to save a buck or two. So all of that is there. It's also a lot of this is in the description below, but keep in mind the description only lets me fit so much, so that link takes you to everything. Takes you to everything. Ah, yes. Yes. Oh, twins. Oh, that would be hard, sending twins off to college. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I want to do giveaway. Mike ran away. Let me see if he's got one here. Oh, okay. He does have one. All right. So I'm doing a giveaway of a $25 gift card to Simon Says Stamp. It's just for me to share. In fact, I'll give you 2 $25 gift cards, one for you to spend and one to give to a friend. Because who doesn't want to get our friends crafting too? So the winner from that is Lisa Gavin. So Lisa, if you go to my website and do the contact me, send me your email address and I will get that out to you. And if you give me your address too, I'll send you a card also. So thank you. Sorry I got a little teary-eyed here at the end, but man. Okay, and I'm sorry that sold out quick, but I told you it was good. I tried to tell you. All right, I think that is it for today, but actually, you know what? Mike left, and I don't know how to end this, so I'll answer some questions. All right, let's see. Hit me with your questions before you go. Put question in front of it, and I'll see if I can get see them all. I'm going to tell Mike to come back down here. Maybe he went to answer the door. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, you know, here's the thing. A lot of people ask, like, what is my live schedule? I don't have one. I know it would be very, very helpful for everybody if I had one. I just can't with things with the kids and just in my life. I just can't. Or it wouldn't be good for me. So I don't have one, but I do have, if you go to my website and you go to the Crafty sales page, you can register there. It'll say at the top to register for texts. And I send a text right before I go live so that you will get a text. And that's really the best way to find out. Jennifer, Mike, don't leave. I had to pick a winner and we're ending. I need your help. He went and got the mail. Jennifer, thank you for the super chat. Oh, buy Colin some ice cream or coffee. He would choose the ice cream for sure. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think that's it for today. Anne asked, there are a couple questions. Did I use a white gel pen for the flower centers? Scroll back a little bit because I showed some acrylic white pens that I used that worked really well, but a white gel pen would be fine. Another question, how do I come up with all these tips and tricks, I think you meant. I overthink everything. That's the way it works. I think I did those. Size of the bins.
I don't remember.
This will be the last question I got to answer today, but I promise I come back to another live. I always try to answer as many as I can. That's why my lives go long, but I got to head out today. This is the this is the medium size. This is an A2 card panel, so you can get an idea. This is the large size. So the medium, look at this. 2 mediums will stack on top of 1 large. And the lids will also stack nice. I don't know where my lids. Oh, there's something. So you can see here's a lid. I've got something in my lid here. But these you can stack on top of the lids too.
They're on the list now.
They're on the list now. All right. Are the pens acid free? I don't know. I would look at the description on the company's website. I'm not sure. I don't think about that stuff.
Simon has an 80-pound Neenah in the ream.
Okay. Simon Says Stamp has the 80-pound Neenah Classic Crest in a ream. I use the 110. The 80-pound's still lovely, but I like the thick card bases. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the roller coaster. My lives are always a roller coaster. Who am I kidding? I appreciate it. I am off to make a phone call and go to Pilates. Betsy, I wish you were going to Pilates with me today. I hope you all have a great day. I truly appreciate you sticking around with me as I share so many random things and, you know, keeping it real. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great day and I'll see you soon.